Well, hello there, and welcome to my world. It's the beginning of the Memorial Day weekend, as indicated by the traffic across Los Angeles, which was amazing, and I'm sure the traffic wherever you are was as well. Um, it is journal number 58, T+52, uh, which is exciting. Uh, the 24th of May, 2019. Uh, Weather in Los Angeles today was glorious. Uh, well, it was glorious in Arcadia. I'm assuming it was glorious everywhere else in LA. Maybe that's a dangerous thing to do. But anyway, it was really nice. Leslie got off early. She had lots of errands to do, including a visit to her primary care physician, uh, sort of the pre-procedure epidural uh, EKG, and home again. I was left to my own devices for a couple of hours, which I guess is all that anybody will trust me with. And did pretty well. I didn't do anything stupid, didn't get into too much trouble anyway. Um, and then our son Ryan came out. There are times on Fridays where he can work from home, and evidently this was one of those Fridays. So he came out, and we went for lunch at the City of Hope, which is pretty much the only place I can eat out at this time, because it's the only place where my doctors are certain that the food preparation is adequate uh, to prevent viral or bacterial infections, which would not be a good thing for somebody who doesn't have an immune system. Uh, and it was great because one of Ryan's favorite restaurants happens to be around the corner from the hospital, and it must have been killing him not to be able to go there. It was killing me not to be able to go there, quite frankly. But we had lunch, and I was able to take Ryan to one of my favorite places before we came back here to the hotel so that he could continue working. Um, we found a parking space out in the edge of the world, and I think I mentioned I got a transfusion yesterday, so the difference is amazing. I mean, without the transfusion, I never would have been able to walk anywhere. But with the transfusion, I was able to walk from the car to the cafeteria. It's a pretty significant walk. We were able to eat. I'm limited in what I can eat, uh, fortunately or unfortunately. I got no complaints because it's keeping me alive, and that sounds like a really good thing from where I sit anyway. And then on the way back to the car, so that we could get back to the hotel, I took Ryan to the Japanese garden. Now you have to appreciate that the City of Hope campus is really 120 acres, which is big. It's large. It's a lot of land. Um, and there are large parts of it that are dedicated to specific purposes. There's a rose garden that has an interesting story behind it. It really is a testament to one man who started planting roses on the grounds there because his wife was a patient at the City of Hope, who loved roses, and now you really have to come out here while they're in bloom to get a sense of this the significant size and scope and beauty of this garden and what it's become. There's a outside art sculpture garden, which is pretty spectacular, although small, uh, but with some really beautiful pieces. And there's a Japanese garden that uh, is small, but I don't know, it's perfect. Uh, it's got a fairly large koi pond, and certainly more koi than I could count. Um, Obviously well taken care of, obviously well fed, uh, huge creatures whose coloring is just absolutely spectacular. Um, and it's got some of the most industrious turtles uh, in that koi pond that I think I've ever seen. Um, they are clever. I didn't think that turtles were clever, but watching them try to negotiate the different rocks in the pond to get up to some place where they could sun themselves uh, was kind of a joy to watch. They don't give up. They and they usually, it's amazing how many times they're able to go ahead and actually um, find a way up there. One of them, quite frankly, I didn't think was going to make it until he got in between the rock, a crease in the rock, and some reeds that were planted there, and used the reeds like a ladder. And it was amazing to watch. I didn't think they were that smart, frankly. Maybe it's me. I shouldn't prejudge anything anymore, I guess. Um, but it was this beautiful garden that gives me um, it gives me peace, and I wanted to introduce it to Ryan so that he could appreciate it before we went home. And fortunately, there is a bench out there underneath an overhead, and we were able to sit and watch the fish for a couple of minutes before it was time to leave. And it just is, in my opinion, a wonderful place to be. With be as in um, more than exist, to sit there and think about the world and your place in it, and about your potential, and what's important. And it's a great place for mindful moments, and an even better place to meditate. So it's pretty amazing. And then we went back to the room. We walked back to the car, which was a fair piece. It was a fairly large circle. I don't know how many steps we did today, but I'm guessing it was a fair amount. And headed back to the hotel. And then Ryan got on the computer and started working, and I took a nap, which in its own way was glorious. I think that's part of my job now, is to get well, and part of my job getting well is to remain healthy and have the energy to heal. So that was my day, and it was pretty terrific. Um, the sun was out. I got some vitamin D. Got to have lunch with my son, which is always a joy, always interesting conversation. Um, I used to talk about the fact that my dad and I, even though, and maybe because of the fact that we worked together for so many years, had an interesting relationship, and I considered him to be one of my closest friends. I'd like to think that Ryan and I share that same bond. I'm very fortunate in the respect that the relationship I share with both of our children, um, I think, is pretty spectacular, mostly because they're pretty spectacular. In any case, if you're home this weekend, have a great time. If you're barbecuing, I hope you enjoy the food. If you're headed out, have safe travels. If you're already where you're going, enjoy the weekend. And in the process, stay well, take care, get ready for the summer. Until tomorrow, this is me signing off. Bye bye.